If a man is not initiating the contact with you and plans with him feel very wishy-washy, you're not quite sure where you stand with him, there's a lot of confusion for you regarding whether you are headed towards being in a relationship with him or not. This is probably not a man that is going to be right for you in helping you to feel safe and to feel happy and fully embodied and resting in your feminine essence. Because your nervous system, when you come into the presence of these types of men that kind of fire up and trigger off your nervous system and signal to you that this is an unstable, unsafe environment, that is telling you something. That is your inner feminine wisdom signaling to you that a man that triggers all these unstable feelings within you is not going to be there to protect you and help keep you safe in very vulnerable situations, such as being pregnant. We never lose the history of our brains and our bodies and the biology that is built into us, the nature of who we are, and what helps us to feel safe as feminine women, but also versus masculine men. Because those two things are very, very different, and an inconsistent man is simply a signal to you that this man may not be the best choice for choosing a provider and protector in the long term. Inconsistency shows a lack of work ethic. It shows so much more than just on a romantic level with a woman. It shows his inconsistent energy in other areas of his life too. His consistency, his ability to be consistent with you and show up for you is going to translate into other areas of his life and your life. And so if he cannot already be consistent with you now, in the future, is that really signaling to you that he can consistently pay the bills on time? He can consistently go to work and make a living for the two of you. He can consistently put food on the table for you. He can be consistent in being a stable provider and protector and showing up in all areas of your life as that provider, because men do provide in other ways than just providing financially. And I know, people don't really understand the concept of that on the internet, but that's why I'm saying to you that, he can be someone who has his finances in order and pay for all the dates when you're with him, but then he's not providing in other ways. He doesn't show up consistently in those dates. Maybe you have a date with him 1 month, and then 3 or 4 months later he's popping up again. That's not consistency. So these qualities and character traits are going to matter a lot to you too. It's not just always about money. And I actually personally used to date a guy who was very financially set. He had plenty of money. He was an awesome provider. He always paid for everything for any woman and their friends, right? He was an awesome provider, knew he was supposed to do that. But when it came to being consistent in showing up energetically and showing up to be a committed romantic partner and showing up emotionally, he was completely lacking in all of those areas. And so unfortunately and inevitably, it just did not work out because even though he was consistent in paying for all the things, the other areas were severely lacking, and he had a lot of work to do in that. So as for someone like myself who is very attuned to my needs and my body and to my feelings and things that trigger me and set me off, things that feel very uncomfortable to my nervous system, and then having the ability to gauge what that means and tap into it and look into it deeper, it just wasn't going to work well for me because I was a woman who was wanting to sit and relish in the essence of her femininity without all the confusion and potential chaos and instability of a man who was just not emotionally present, not always physically present, but rather it was certain that he was going to be not present and very inconsistent. And what's also interesting is that if you do happen to have these patterns of relationships and you end up always getting into these kinds of partnerships with these guys that are just not available to you emotionally or just not showing up consistently, and you always find yourself having to put in the work, put in most of the effort and do the thing and take the action and plan the dates and plan when you're gonna see them again, or like if you don't reach out to him and if you don't show up in his life, then it's like you will never hear from him because he just kind of brushes it off and pretends like it doesn't even matter. Well, usually this is the kind of thing that goes back to your relationship to your father. And when your father portrayed this kind of relationship to you growing up, and you had this very wishy-washy relationship with him, and you didn't really have him much in your life, or he was kind of hot and cold with you, then unfortunately this is how you end up choosing and attracting and picking partners that also reflect that same behavior of your father. And there's a way that you can break out of this toxic cycle and rewire your brain, rewire your nervous system, heal your issues and trauma, and regain your femininity, which is your absolute birthright. It is the essence of who you are. It is the power that gasses everything in your life. And so when you are when there is a man that comes along and he says that you're beautiful and he wants to get to know you and he wants to take you out on a date, or he has been taking you out on a date, you have to decide for yourself that in order to reclaim your role as a feminine woman, and that you want to be in the feminine receptive receiving mode throughout the entirety of the relationship, that you must never reach out to him or pursue him aggressively or set up the dates and rearrange the plans for him, but you must always allow that space for him to come move towards you, to pursue you, to plan things out with you, especially in the beginning stages, because it depends a lot on where you are at in your relationship. But 1000%, while you are with someone and he is courting you, okay, and you are just in the beginning stages, it is very important that in order to hold true to who you are as a woman, you must never move towards him or make it so easy to where he can see you. And I know sometimes it's easy to get caught up in that because you just get so anxious and you're just like, I want to be in a relationship and I want to fit in with the crowd. I want to fit in with my friends. I want to have Valentine's Day to spend with someone. I want to have a Christmas holiday and give gifts to someone that I love. And remember that when you're dating, there is a middle ground. There is a healthy balance, whether to gauge whether you are moving too fast or you need to take it slower. You always have to be so attuned to yourself and what you want in life and your feelings and what your body is saying to you, because your body is always speaking to you. And sometimes we can get so much into the habit of suppressing what our body is saying to us because we just have to go and we have to do and we have to get things done and we have to check these boxes off the list. And so we just end up kind of ignoring what our body wants and what it feels and what it's telling to us in order to help keep us safe and well and healthy and thriving. And truly, one of the ways that we can gauge whether we are in overdrive, in too much of testosterone land, when we are too much in our masculine energy and suppressing all of our feminine needs and feminine traits and what our feminine body is begging for, the nourishment that it is begging for. One of those ways is simply by checking our hormones and seeing how our period is doing, right? If we have a very unhealthy, unregulated period, then we know that something is off in our bodies. And as someone who used to have very unstable, debilitating periods, I can speak from a place of experience and knowledge and having becoming someone that was able to say, no, I am in control of my life. Doctors don't get to dictate how my life and my health goes. And I took action for myself and was able to heal all of these things. And so back to the middle ground kind of thing, and that finding that healthy balance of progressing a relationship along. Hi, baby. She's in all my videos. So anyways, hi. So finding that healthy balance of progressing the relationship along, for a healthy embodied feminine woman, it is going to feel very wrecking to her psyche and her nervous system for a man that is kind of rushing things along and trying to push and push and push, and trying to like hurry and jump into a relationship with her, or try to jump into bed with her, and sort of create a sort of be committed to one another and have exclusivity with one another, when they haven't really gotten to know each other on a more emotional and deep psychological level. You know, the guys that kind of rush into that after they've taken you out on 1 or 2 dates, and you're kind of sitting back thinking like, well, I don't know how I feel about this guy, and it seems like he's being kind of pushy and kind of like trying to move things along too quickly, when I don't really know if I feel safe with him. I don't really know like much about him or his life or what he wants. These are going to be more unhealthy traits, and this is going to repel you from the guy overall. So that's not healthy. But then on the flip side of it, there's also the guy who, you see him often, you communicate with him often, you speak often, you know about one another, you feel comfortable and familiar with one another, and it feels like there's no ending to it. It feels like nothing is ever being progressed along. It's just like you're kind of halted where you're at, and nothing is being moved, nothing is flowing, right? You don't know where the ending is with him. That's also not a healthy situation to be in. So like I was saying, is there is going to be that middle marker, and that healthy balance for you to determine whether someone is right for you or they're not. So in those situations, what I would suggest to you is always just honor yourself and stay attuned to how you're feeling about the situation. Listen to your feminine wisdom. Honor honor what is going on inside of you, because that's going to help you in communicating with that man or those different men, where you're at and what you need. If you need more time to, you need to take things slower. You need more time to decide whether he would be a good match for you. Maybe you need to communicate about things, about what he wants out of life and what versus what you want, how many kids you want, all of these logistics that are very important when you are, choosing someone to partner up with for life. Or you might have to tell the one that seems to never have an ending for you, never have a plan to be exclusive with you. Maybe you have to tell him like, hey, this is what I'm wanting and expecting, and everything feels organic with you up until this point. Now it's just kind of like, whoa, where do we go from here? You might have to communicate with him that you want A, B, and C, but it seems like you're just kind of halted with one another, and you can't really foresee where this is taking you, where your relationship to him is leading you to, and whether or not you both want the same thing. So you might have to be the one to communicate those things to these guys who maybe are in more unhealthy states and more in their wounded energy, just so that you feel better about yourself and you are still staying true to who you are and honoring your feminine body and intuition. And for us women, it's very normal that we will be slower to grow in our attraction. We will be slower to vet a man and vet his potential and vet whether we see him as a lifelong partner or not, a suitable mate for us, a safe mate choice for us. We are going to be slower to grow grow in that, and we have a more extensive process of vetting a guy for all of these things and choosing him to give ourselves to, romantically, sexually, psychologically, emotionally. We have all of this criteria that we have to go through, all of this little box of lists and to check off, to go through in order to vet to see if a man would be right for us. And so we're just going to naturally be slower to grow in our attraction for a man. So it's going to take time to get yourself familiar and warmed up to him and opened up to him emotionally, and even opening your mind to his physical attraction, because you may not be physically attracted to a man right off the bat. But on the flip side, for men know right away whether they are physically attracted to you or not. Now, just because he might be sexually attracted to you, okay, he could have sexual attraction for you, but not be attracted to you in other areas, like as in being attracted to your mind, your soul, your heart, your spirit, your energy. A man could be sexually attracted to you just simply based off of the way that you look, but not be attracted to you in any other area. We choose men based off of what they do and the steps that they take towards us, and how consistent they are in their pursuit towards us, and how they make us feel safe inside and in our environment, and safe around them, physically safe, financially safe, emotionally safe, spiritually safe. We choose men based off of all of this list of things. And for men, they just kind of choose us based off of how they feel with us, whether they feel like a man and feel like we are a safe landing space for them, because we radiate so much authenticity, we radiate so much delicacy and this sort of powerful, nurturing energy within us. That's how men choose us versus how we choose men. If you think about it simply in the male and female anatomy and how our systems are wired, how our biology is, the male and female sexuality, right? So the male sexuality is kind of just one button, like a microwave. You just touch one button and it's on. It's ready to go, right? It doesn't have any. It doesn't need. It doesn't have needs that need to be met. It doesn't need much words or stimulation. It doesn't need much effort in order to get the male sexual system going, right? Revved up. But for the female sexual system, charging her sexual energy is a much more tedious process. We women are like an oven. We gotta touch this button, then we gotta touch this button, then this button, then turn the knob, then turn the timer on, and then the cookies can go in the oven, right? Like, there's a whole step process to get the female sexual system charged and revved up and ready to go, right? So in the same way, you take that analogy and you apply it to how we are slower to open ourselves up and warm ourselves up in order to be in such a vulnerable state, right? Because in order for the man to penetrate the woman's body, penetrate her, it has to be in a state of pure relaxation and pure bliss in order for it to open itself up to masculine penetration, or else it's just not going to work, right? It's not going to work. And so that is why the female brain is built. It is wired to not orgasm in unstable and in unsafe environments. Because from an evolutionary perspective, laying down with a man and falling pregnant for him was very, very endangering to her survival. So the female brain is quite literally wired to protect itself and vet its environment and vet the man that she allows into her life, into her world, and into her body. Okay, so to wrap this thing up, you want to feel like a relationship is organically progressing along, like you are organically being yourself when you're with them, like he is consistently showing up, he is consistently taking action towards you, he is consistently making you feel safe and happy and protected in his presence, and like you feel like you can go to him with anything and you can ask for his advice, and you feel like your emotions are safe landing them with him. Okay, everything needs to feel organic and true to you and who you are, and what you both desire for the long term. So I'm gonna shut up now because this has already been going on too long. Ladies and gentlemen, if you do have any further questions, or you have a question about your specific relationship situation, feel free to send me an email down below, and I will get back to you and answer your email and answer your questions. If you also have one-on-one coaching inquiries, then also send me an email. Tell me a little bit about you and about what you're dealing with and what you're going through, and we will take the steps towards working out a plan for you to come out of that and heal yourself. Okay, if you enjoyed this video, make sure you like it, share it with a friend, and subscribe if you're not already. Until the next video, I will talk to you guys soon. Love you.